Celebrity True or False.
You can't handle the truth.
Here we go. There you go. That's our production value, Jimmy Smits.
Love it.
First one up for you, celebrity true or false. True or false, you had a brief stint as a cabbie in New York before getting regular work on soap operas. Is that true or false?
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but these are like qualified things. It wasn't like I
You didn't have a hack license,
No.
is what you're saying?
I mean, I did a couple of stints. Yeah.
Just driving? Just trying to make ends meet is what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And then how'd you get on a soap? How did you get your
Well,
first break?
the whole thing with soaps was it's kind of, while I was doing theater off-Broadway, you kind of like did soaps if you could to date players on a soap to really support yourself because you don't make a lot off-Broadway.
But how'd you get discovered? Just off-Broadway? Is that what it was?
Just started doing theater, a lot of theater work and working regional theater, and that was the whole thing. Theater,
Okay.
and then little parts on soap, and then my first TV job was on the pilot of Miami Vice.
You didn't last very long, right?
I didn't last long at all. 5 minutes and I'm out. But I knew going in that's what it was going to be.
That's what it was going to be?
Yeah.
Were you the first guy that got off of Miami Vice in the
I
history
was
of Miami Vice?
Oh,
Were you
man.
the first one?
No,
Jimmy Smits?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Actually, yeah. The character was Don Johnson's original partner before.
Right.
So it set the story in motion that he passed away. So I knew going in that
what your role was.
It was one and out. It wasn't like I was going to come back on, with Phil Collins videos. Talking to Don Johnson in his ear. No, but it was good being there during that time because, I was a young actor doing a lot of theater and just seeing the dynamic of what Michael Mann wanted to do with that show and how that show changed the dynamic of how music and story can be.
Sure did. And then you eventually hooked up with a guy who totally changed television as well, and Stephen Bochco. True or false, you did not perform well in your first LA Law audition in New York, so you flew to LA, got a second audition, and nailed it. Is that a true story?
That's like super true.
What happened?
That's super true. I had an audition in New York, and but it was a network audition. They was trying to weed people out, basically. So they kind of put all this legal dialogue in front. I just did terribly. And a friend of mine that I went to school with said, "You didn't really see the people involved, and so come over here." And I took one of those 99. At that time, it was People Express.
People Express, where you had to pay for your flight halfway over the country. Like, what, they were going to give you a parachute if you didn't pay for it?
100%.
I remember People's Express.
People Express, and I took it.
I remember that.
And I had an audition with Stephen Bochco and Greg Hoblet, who directed the pilot. And I had done some work with on a movie that Peter Hyams directed, and Peter and Stephen knew each other. So the audition went well, but I got a little confirmation from the outside there.
Is that where you first met Stephen Bochco? At that audition?
At that audition. I walked in, and Steve used to have all these sports paraphernalia. Mm-hmm. So when I walked into the audition, he had these baseball bats, and he was swinging the bat. He was like, "So if you don't do good on this, this is what's going to happen."
It's like the Untouchables. I thought you said he had Emmys. He had those too all over his.
He had a lot of them.
I think he had how much did we determine he got in his first night for Hill Street? Was it 14? Unbelievable.
It was a lot.
God bless him.
Why do you think LA Law worked so well? What do you think, Jimmy?
I mean, of course, it's all, for me, good television is all about the writing, what's on the page. But I think the fact that it was the ensemble, the way the ensemble was cooking, we were like running on all cylinders, and it just showed the legal system in a different kind of way that it hadn't been seen before, with all its blemishes and.
Sure, of course. Well, I mean, it's Los Angeles. Next one for you, Jimmy Smits. True or false? Your West Wing character, Matthew Santos, was loosely based on Barack Obama, even though he wasn't even a U.S. senator at the time. Is that true or false?
That's true.
So somebody had already discovered who he was and decided to...
He was doing a lot of great work in Chicago.
Right.
And, yeah.
Really? I did not know that about your character.
It was during just before he had made the decision to run. But it was, again, it's a compilation of a lot of different people.
Who else was involved in that?
Who else was involved
in your compilation of Matthew Santos? Who else?
Javier Becerra. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who's currently now in the he's now in the cabinet right now.
On cabinet.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you meet any of these folks?
Yeah, absolutely.
You met Obama?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. I mean,
no, I did. I remember being in Chicago with him. We were at federal employees speaking engagement thing, and we were backstage, and he was contemplating. He hadn't made the choice yet, and we had a brief conversation about, is my family going to be up to the rigors of what this is going to take
of running?
Yeah, because it's not just.
Yeah, sure.
It's hard. It's hard.
So, were you the one who convinced him to run? Is that what you're saying?
Go for it, Barack. Go for it.
And look at him now, Jimmy.
Yes, sir.
And look at him now.
You owe me.
Next one, true or false? You used a snippet of yourself singing doo-wop on NYPD Blue to land your In the Heights role. Is that true or false?
Oh, wow. Well, wait a minute. How do you know that?
I don't know. These are all...
Somebody ratted me out there.
I don't know.
That was...
I don't know.
I did. We did a compilation of little,
Sending that on to Lin-Manuel Miranda or just
and John Chu, the director of the one who did a wonderful job. But I had known Lin before, and we knew that it wasn't the role. One of the reasons why I went on this audition for this film was because we knew that this particular character wasn't going to be doing heavy lifting vocally. He wasn't going to be doing arias and stuff. So they just wanted to know that I could blow a couple of notes.
Yeah. You just said, hey, look, I'm no Leslie Odom, but I can still do this. Is basically what you're saying?
I used to sing on the corner in East New York and harmonize with the fellas. Do the persuasion thing.
And you used the snippet from NYPD Blue.
It was one. We did a compilation of little,
Okay. Fantastic. Well, it worked out for sure.
You got to ask Lynn if they actually got that. I think they did.
Okay, good. Well, obviously. Last one for you. I'm fascinated by this to see if it's true or false. Jimmy Smits. True or false, you once sang karaoke with Gregory Peck and Sidney Poitier. Is that true or false?
Oh, my God. You're making me sweat.
Why am I making you sweat?
Because you didn't get that from me. I don't know where you get that from.
What is it? It's called the internet, right? I mean, is that true or false?
Google.
That's true.
Where the hell did that happen?
But I wasn't singing. They were singing.
How does one sing wind up at a karaoke bash with that?
I had the good fortune to be able to work with Mr. Peck on a film with Jane Fonda right after L.A. Law. And, I just get flushed with memories just thinking about it. And then my wife and I would get phone calls like, could you come over we're having a couple of friends over for dinner on the weekend, if you can come over.
From Greg. I was about to say, if it was
Jim. And his wife Veronique, who was from France, and just had this little.
So your phone would even lift up the phone. It would be Gregory Peck.
Yeah.
He called you Jim.
Come over come over for the weekend. We're gonna have a few friends over, and that was the time when the Brat Pack was like, a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because I'll get to that. So I went to Greg's house, and then all of a sudden, and I don't want to start doing a name drop thing, but
you could, please.
Hollywood.
This is Los Angeles, Jimmy.
All Hollywood was walking in that door, like Walter Matthau, Q, Sidney, and my wife and I looked at each other like, F the Brat Pack. This is the deal right here. And to just see them, interact with each other, and the humility and friendship that they had, the importance of knowing, we talk about platform, in your brand and all that stuff now, but knowing that you have a responsibility not only to entertain but to enlighten. This was like part of these people's DNA.
Of course. And I assume Q, you mean Quincy Jones,
Yes,
right?
Sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So
But-
you said,
but then to
so
see
you
that-
sang. Hold on a second. You sang.
I didn't sing. I watched them sing.
Oh, you
they had a
didn't-
little. All of a sudden, after dinner and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and
Yeah.
a couple of drinks and
Yeah.
stuff, they bring out the little. That time it was a little. You know, that little. It looks like a Fender, like an old Fender
Sure.
thing,
Yeah.
with the microphone attached,
Yeah.
and they were singing.
And then you watched this karaoke go down.
I watched it go down.
That is amazing. I would love Sidney Poitier singing a
pretty
karaoke with
amazing.
Quincy Jones. Did Quincy's like the
Sidney kinda
original's off.
hummed.
He hummed. Okay. Oh man, outstanding. I didn't mean to make you sweat. These are all just. I
did-
mean,
I did sweat a
man,
little
your
bit.
stories are just amazing, Jimmy.